Hello, my name is Kai, and welcome to the Theoretical YouTube channel, where we need a prop. Ah. Perfect. Okay, so if this didn't clearly give it away, today we're talking about The Incredibles. It's the 6th Pixar movie, directed by Brad Bird, and it follows a family of superheroes who have to fight an evil genius whose only goal is to kill them and every other super in the world. But let's think about this for a second. Syndrome, or Buddy, as he was formerly called, wants to kill every super because Mr. Incredible crushed his dreams of being a superhero himself.
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
It tore me apart.
It's the classic origin story of someone whose idol doesn't turn out to be as amazing or incredible as they thought they were, but what makes this story really special is how Syndrome did it. Every time the Incredibles get further to defeating him, they realize that Syndrome had already planned for it. But how could any one person be that smart? Well, I propose that Syndrome was super the entire time. Over the course of 15 years, Syndrome orchestrates a plan to knock off every single superhero he can find. Then when they're all gone, he stages an attack on a big city using a giant robot that he built, only for him to swoop in and save the day using his remote that controls the robot. Appearing to the world as the only super who could defeat the Omnidroid. It's too bad he chose the one city with the highest concentration of superheroes in the whole country. It's a pretty impressive plan to come up with and deliver on, but maybe if I had 15 years and an extraordinarily deep desire, I might be able to come up with something similar. However, the catch is he had 15 years to think of it and enact it. Meaning if he's been killing off supers for 10 to 12 years, he would have had to come up with it in 3 years as a 12-year-old. He would also have had to build the first Omnidroid to fight the first superhero as a 12-year-old. But let's talk about the things he's built some more. Syndrome's whole idea is that you don't have to have superpowers to be a superhero, and he would have actually proven that true if he hadn't turned into a villain. With all of the gadgets he invented, like his utility gauntlets, his arrow boots, his bioprobe, and the miniature eye bomb, he also invented multiple modes of transportation like the Vipers, Velocipods, and Manta Jets. And of course the iconic energy prisons and those sticky ball things that were able to withstand Mr. Incredible's strength. But by far his most impressive accomplishment is the Omnidroid. It's not just impressive for the hardware and machinery of the arms, and the seemingly indestructible material it's made out of, but he has also been able to create AI which is designed to figure out and solve any problem it finds itself in. For instance, it figures out the Syndrome has been controlling it with the gauntlet, so he knocks him out and gets the gauntlet off of his arm. And though the Omnidroid is an extremely huge accomplishment, it's even more impressive when you realize when Incredibles takes place. Look at everything else that Syndrome didn't invent. The landline that Helen uses, the computer at Bob's work, the fact that Bob has to keep binders filled with paperwork instead of saving them to his computer, the old design of every single car, the Rock'em Sock'em robots in Bob's office, and of course, the newspaper that actually gives the date of the story, May 16th, 1962. Rock'em Sock'em robots were actually made in 1964, but that's besides the point. This means that Syndrome literally made artificial intelligence with the computing power of a Furby. America wouldn't even be able to send a man to the moon for another 7 years. Even then, there weren't very many programming languages implemented in technology back then, so not only did he do all this, but he did all this with ones and zeros. The top scientists of the world were impressed with their 50-pound compact computers, while Syndrome was living on his own private island inventing 10 versions of a robot that could probably fly through the sun if it wanted to. And that's just Syndrome's inventions. Buddy Pine made the Aero Boots in 1947. But the Pixar theory, which we here are firm believers in, says that the government gives the supers powers. So why would they trust a little kid with them? Well, the government isn't the only way to have powers. As we see with Violet Dash and Jack Jack, children can be born with powers if they have super parents. Aren't all parents super though? Not in this case. Mr. Incredible tells the police officer to tell Buddy's mom what he's been up to.
And make sure his mom knows what he's been doing.
Which seems like an odd request for a police officer. Did he think there was some reason that he wouldn't be telling his parents? Unless Mr. Incredible knew his mom as a super, and knew that she wouldn't want her son going out at night to fight crime. And as for why he doesn't know he has powers, he was never told he has powers. Compared to all the other supers, his power isn't that obvious. When you're living in a world with people who can lift trains, shoot lasers from their eyes, shoot icicles from their hands, and become literal human parachutes, being pretty smart isn't that grandeur. In fact, his mom might not have even known. Because while she's out fighting crime and saving the world, she doesn't have time to pay attention to her genius son, who just wants to do the same. Seems like that's all we've got for today. Before you leave this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down in the section below. Let us know if you've seen Incredibles 2, and if so, did you like it? I enjoyed how before the movie even played, they had to issue an apology for being so late.
Too late! 15 years too late.
Okay, only 14 years, but it's still ridiculous.
You sly dog! You got me monologuing! I can't believe it.